Well, the government is accusing Tony Abbott of betraying business by going back on a promise to support company tax cuts to be paid for by the mining tax. But the opposition leader says the cuts are a con, and he's switching attention from the issue by attacking the government for going soft on crime. Political correspondent Tom Eagleton reports from Canberra.
Tony Abbott's youngest daughter's the new face of the Sydney Spring Carnival.
She's also studying at university, and I wouldn't want anyone to think that my daughter is a one-dimensional person.
With one of the opposition leader's media minders looking on, Bridget Abbott said there was also more to her father than meets the eye.
Dad's actually a lot more hip than people give him credit for. He's a lot cooler than you'd think.
How long will it stay hot for?
The opposition leader seems to be going cool on his pledge at the last election to cut the company tax rate by 1.5%.
Is that still the coalition's policy, and is it still fully funded in your fiscal plans?
It is the coalition's firm commitment, our strong policy to deliver a modest company tax cut at the next election, and all our policies will be fully funded.
A 1.5% cut?
It will be a modest cut.
And the opposition leader's refusing to support a $2.5 billion big business tax cut to be paid for by the government's mining tax.
A tax cut that's paid for by a tax increase is not a cut, it's a con. It's a tax fiddle, not a tax reduction.
Welcome to Smith's Alternative Bookshop. Here it is.
Visiting a local small business in Canberra, the Prime Minister says Tony Abbott's betrayed businesses counting on the tax cuts.
He's going to vote against successful companies. He's going to vote against a prosperous economy. He's going to vote against something that is good for every single Australian.
The Greens are also opposing the corporate tax cuts.
Why on earth would we want to be giving back to the corporate sector $2.4 billion.
Julia Gillard's now turning the tables on the opposition's attacks on her deal-making with Bob Brown.
I never thought I would see the day that the Liberal Party would join with the Greens to vote against a tax cut for business. That's what Mr Abbott has announced today.
In some ways, the government's in a no-lose situation here. If the tax cuts don't go through, it can blame Mr Abbott, bank the billions it had promised to hand back to big business, and silently thank the opposition leader for delivering a budget surplus.
Well, Mr Speaker,
Wayne Swan's already started wedging the opposition on the issue.
They've got a $70 billion hole in their budget bottom line, Mr Speaker. $70 billion. That's why they're saying no, no, no.
But Tony Abbott was more interested in talking about the government's budget cuts in Parliament today.
There is a reign of terror on the streets of Sydney.
Accusing Julia Gillard of penny pinching on border security after Sydney police uncovered an alleged gun smuggling ring.
Every single one of these drive-by shootings involves an illegally imported gun. Every single one of those illegally imported guns has got past customs, and they are getting past customs because this government has savagely cut customs funding.
Julia Gillard shot back with familiar ammunition.
I'd say to the Leader of the Opposition, who is out there with his $70 billion black hole, saying 12,000 public servants can go, how many of them are coming from customs?
Meanwhile, the government could have another legal battle on its hands, with mining magnate Clive Palmer confirming he's thinking of funding a High Court challenge to the carbon tax.
Well, our advice is that the carbon tax in its current form is unconstitutional.
Couldn't say exactly how. Tom Eagleton, Late Line.